Time for a top 10 heavyweight update. Guys, with so much action over the last month or so in the heavyweight division, I think things have been shaken up. Now, while the top champion plus the top 5 doesn't change, it's really interesting to see what's going to happen from 6 through 10. Okay, so let's start from the top. Undisputed champion remains Alexander Usyk. No question about that. So in the number 1 rated slot, we have to leave Tyson Fury there because he does have that rematch clause with Usyk. So we do have to let that play out before we decide if Fury moves down in the ratings. And then second, in number 2 slot, we have Anthony Joshua. Again, we still have to wait for his fight with Dubois to play out. Now, number 3, definitely Joseph Parker, because he beat the number 4 Zhang Zhilei. I think Zhang cemented his position certainly with that devastating knockout of Deontay Wilder. And with that said, I'm for sure he was not in my top 10 previous 2 selections, but he's most definitely should not be in anybody's top 10 at this point, almost as an act of kindness to him. Now, 5 and 6 was a little bit of a toss-up for me. I had it as Dubois and Bakole. But in the end, I put Dubois ahead of Bakole simply because Dubois has faced the more competitive opponents. So in other words, even though Dubois has a couple losses, they're to very high-level competition. He's fought high-level competition than Bakole. So Daniel Dubois ranks 1 step above Bakole in the number 5 slot. So Martin Bakole, what an awesome fight and a KO versus previously rated, perhaps, Jared Anderson. Now, I've also been harping for a while about why I don't think Jared Anderson deserves a slot in the top 10. And Bakole kind of, I think, cemented that with his KO of Jared Anderson. I mean, it wasn't just the fact that he stopped him, it was the manner in which he completely overwhelmed Jared Anderson. So for sure, Bakole definitely earns a spot in the top 10. Congratulations, Martin Bakole. And I think he now falls into the number 6 position. Now, I did put both Dubois and Bakole ahead of the next fellow in number 7, who is Agit Kabayel. Now, I give huge props to Kabayel because while he was rated in the top 10 by The Ring, all the way back at the beginning of the year, I kind of had a lot of criticism about Kabayel's fighting technique and tactics in the ring. And to his credit, he really revised how he fights, and he got rid of some of those bad habits with his footwork and his hands that I was harping about earlier. And not only that, but he also pulled off a brilliant upset victory versus Frank Sanchez. Now, for sure, Agit was, I think, brought in as the opponent in that match. He was supposed to lose that fight to Frank Sanchez according to the script, but not to be denied. And so Agit Kabayel moves up into the number 7 slot. Now, 8, 9, and 10 are really, I feel, a little bit of a toss-up here, because it's almost like, do we want to give some of these guys who kind of lost badly in their last fight, do we want to give them a second chance? Do we want to open these slots up for potential up-and-comers in the heavyweight division who haven't really proven themselves yet, but they could shake things up? Well, I just decided to put Derek Chisora in. After Derek's brilliant underdog victory versus Joe Joyce, I do feel that Chisora earned himself a slot in the top 10. Now, ironically, I kind of wonder whether Derek wants that slot or not, because he alluded to maybe doing a rematch, I think, with Dillian White. Chisora also mentioned that he really only wants one more fight in the UK and then one final fight in Africa, and then he's done. So I kind of feel like we could offer Derek this slot, and if he wants it, he can take it, or he could give it away, simply because he may want to take a lesser opponent, a not rated opponent, for his second last fight, and then I don't know what he wants for his sort of send-off fight. But I feel like, Del Boy earned it, so let's give him that number 8 slot. Now 9 and 10, I'm still a little bit of a toss-up, but so we could maybe forgive Hrgović and Sanchez and say, well, you guys can be 9 and 10. Yes, you lost in your last matchup, but maybe that was just a one-off. So we'll gratuitously give you the 9 and 10 slots. Or we could even offer a 9 or the 10 slot to Otto Wallin, who has 2 losses, but again, against very good foes. It's not, we can't really say there's a lot of shame in losing to Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury. And then finally, perhaps we offer one of these slots to an up and coming heavyweight fighter. So I think the ring has a fellow named Justis Huni out of Australia, who's 10-0 with 5 KOs. They have him in the number 10 slot. So I took a look at him, and I'm actually quite impressed. So I have no problem with putting Huni in that number 10 slot, even though he's untested. Huni is untested in the sort of more upper elite level of the heavyweight division. But Huni, take a look at Huni. He has a style that I think will take him far, and that is he's able to move like I would say more like a middleweight type fighter, where he bobs to his left, throws a left body shot, and then an overhand right. He's got great defensive skill in terms of being able to bend at the waist. He's quite agile, and he's got decently fast hands for a heavyweight. So I think he could shake things up a little bit for us, and he'll make an interesting matchup with any one of these fellows, say from 5 through 9. So now I'm looking at the number 9 slot, and it's, for me, a little bit of a toss-up between Hrgović, Sanchez, and Wallin. And just arbitrarily, I'm going to pick Frank Sanchez, only because I feel like, no disrespect to Otto Wallin, but I don't know, I just haven't been super impressed with his other performances, and Hrgović was underwhelming in his last performance. Now both he and Sanchez took an L, but I feel like Hrgović kind of looked like the less interested of the two, shall we say, throughout the duration of that fight. So I'm going to give that number 9 slot to Frank Sanchez, but he's got to do something with that, in order to cement his ranking in the top 10. So again, real quick rundown. Champion is undisputed Usyk. Number 1 rated is Tyson Fury. Number 2, Anthony Joshua. Number 3, Joseph Parker. Number 4, Zhang Zhilei. Number 5, Daniel Dubois. Number 6, Martin Bakole. Number 7, Ajit Kabayel. Number 8, Derek Chisora. Number 9, Frank Sanchez. And number 10, Justis Huni. Who do you guys have in the top 10 for the heavyweights? Let me know. And if you enjoyed this little breakdown, please feel free to give me a super thanks over on the right, or head over to buymeacoffee.com/Hamaguchi-fight, and you can purchase a coffee. Now, if you'd like to join in on the fun, please join our membership side for a mere $3 a month. Thank you again for listening.